You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right. Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons. I know you're excited about it. In studio, joined as always by Randy Angson. What's up, guy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey. Yeah, we just did a bench off.
It was a little midday lift. No warm-up. Max weight.
Yeah. Quick. Crushed everybody's chest. Lots of injuries. So
Yeah.
don't
Do as we say, not as we do type of
Chuck signed that waiver, didn't he?
on the front door. Yeah, I think I said that.
Just entering. We're taking the risk. All right. So when's this episode coming out? We still have time for people to jump
1 week. Yeah. So this is 1 week from today is our next CLA workshop, which is perfect timing.
Perfect time. You want to jump in on that? winninggym.com/workshop. That's where you go to check that out. We've got some great news for our international clients. That's what this episode's about today. And if you're in Australia, UK, Canada, where else? Mexico, Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a big Singapore listening group. India's a big representation. So
if you're international, meaning away from the U.S., and you own a gym and you want automation, we can now leverage Keeps automation for international text messaging, and that was big. That's been a big kind of like stopping point for a lot of gyms that have been international for us that couldn't use the whole platform. Now we've got international way to do international texting and calling if we need to. So that's all built out in there now. We're just doing our first workshop on the 21st to do that. So if you are international and you were like waiting, for this kind of technology to hit in your area, text messaging is available. And really for the gym business, we're business to consumer, we're using text message almost more now than email marketing at all.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's where people are. I mean, like the software companies themselves say there's something like 80 to 90+% open rate on a text message.
Versus, a good open rate on an email is 25%. So, 1 out of every 4 people are getting an email, where it's like 9 out of 10 are getting, your text messaging. So, and that's just the way people communicate these days, is text messaging and everything like that. So it's very important to have this medium in your communication efforts as far as marketing goes.
Something I want to drive home too, because I think this is just a common thread when we talk automation. Automation, the way that we use it, is not AI. It's not removing a user or the human element. What it's doing is it's doing all of the work, all of the build up, like the fluff stuff that has to happen before the human steps in, right?
Yeah.
So like in this situation, it's going to send out the initial text messages, emails, things like that. And then when the user takes action and responds, now it's going to you. It's going to a human. You can engage with that person. You can communicate. It's not going back to a bot that's going to try and decipher what this person came back with, figure out what's appropriate to send them to. And I think that is something that people need to understand. It's making the work that we do better, more effective by taking certain aspects off the plate, but by encouraging the aspects that we want.
It's a great point, because there is this movement towards this AI. Somebody just hit me up the other day. He's like, hey, man, I've got this AI solution for gyms. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see it. I've already seen a lot of this stuff anyway, and it's not good. It's not good for your business. I know there's this movement towards AI, and it's like, well, if I don't have to do any of this stuff, that I don't want to, but at the same time, you're also ruining a lot of things for yourself. Because I've seen some of the products out there, not naming any names, where the person gets a text and it's like, stop texting me. I've told you no 5 times. Stop texting me. And then the bot, the AI, sounds great. When would you like to come in? It's like they're not. That's more damaging than not having it at all.
Not only that, but you push that person away probably for life, but they're also going to be pissed enough to turn around and tell other people.
Yes.
And that's one of those, like, there's no news is good news, or like, negativity spreads. Like, God forbid we got a positive reviews type of thing. No, that for sure. Somebody's going to your website. Somebody's going to Yelp. Somebody's throwing you under the bus on social media, because it couldn't be more inauthentic.
Correct.
Nothing genuine or real, transparent. Like, I see the advantages. I like where some of that industry is going. I don't think that it's the ticket yet,
Right.
especially for this solution.
So let's define automation versus AI, which is what is that? What does AI stand for?
Automatic and something
Automated
intelligence. Automated intelligence. Yeah.
Okay. So automation versus AI. Automation is what we do. It's through software called Keep, but we build out the sequences. You write, we write, and help you write what that text and everything says. It goes out on a cadence. It's also sent out when users take action on specific things, and it's already pre-programmed to say what it's going to say. When they respond back to that, you get it in your inbox just like a normal text message. You can respond in real time to whatever the hell you want to say.
As a human,
as a human person.
So, yeah, you in the driver's seat are going to decipher what they came back with, and then respond accordingly.
Yep. It frees you up from doing tasks. It takes care of the minutia of the follow-ups and getting people back on your schedule and a million other things. That's automation.
Mm-hmm.
AI is a computer that's trying to decipher what the questions are being asked and give a response based on that. You've seen some types of this stuff happening through like companies like, let's just say AT&T, when you go to their chat widget and it's got some pre-programmed responses, but it also tries to direct you in the right direction. And, typically you're frustrated over there. What I'm seeing in the gym space with these AI platforms that are coming out trying to say, hey, we'll take care of the entire conversation for you. I'm seeing stuff like I mentioned earlier where somebody's not getting the response they want, or they want off your list, or they're done with you, and the computer's still trying to tag them like, hey, sounds good. When do you want to come in? When do you want to come in? When it just pisses somebody off. And that's a bigger problem than not having anything at all.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
If you didn't have anything at all, at least you wouldn't piss anybody off. But now you're pissing people off. Versus what we talk about in our automation is having a system, a flow, a journey to take people on that you already know what it says. You write it, or we give you the template to write it, and it's done. So that's a big difference, and I'm glad you brought that up, because just literally the other day I had somebody new come to me and like, hey, can we test this out with you? I'm like, no, thank you.
Sure. And now, again, I think there are applications for something like an AI, right? Like if you think of a ManyChat, if you go to your Facebook and somebody wants your hours on your website from your gym, a ManyChat campaign or something like that, that's where AI comes into play, right? What are your hours?
But it's not really AI, because it's a menu-driven automation. That's Absolutely. Automation too.
Sure.
And so, I mean, another bonus for the key, the text message that we're doing is we can do the menu-driven text message responses. Press 1 for schedule. Press 2 for this.
And that's something that I'm definitely going to set up for us. I think you guys as listeners, we could probably show you some samplings of what we do with AI. In the next couple of weeks here, there's something that I'm putting on my plate
with automation.
That's what I meant with automation. So that you guys will be able to text a word to a number and start to see what we were talking about, how that works. You'll probably get you get face-to-face with me, or in communication with me at some point, or one of us, because that's how it's going to work. We're trying to open up the door for communication. We're not trying to remove us from the entire equation.
And the thing you used to always say, we're driving towards the human contact. We're not driving away from it. So like all of the marketing's to get somebody to sit down in front of you.
Yes.
It's not to replace that person, right?
Exactly. And that's a good way of putting it, right? We're not trying to, walk in the front door of your gym. We don't want to just remove the salesperson, remove the human, that's greeting at the front door, and just, sign in with your pass and you move in and it's just completely that's not the gym that we're talking about. It's giving you as the owner, as the person driving sales, the opportunity to speak to people that are interested, because they've shown that they've taken action, which puts them in a certain bucket. They've seen certain, they've received certain things based on those actions. But ultimately, when they respond, it's going to you. It's not going to a computer to handle the whole conversation. That's so big to me.
It's a big difference. It's a giant difference. And so we want to throw that out there. We want to let all of our international listeners and gym owners across the globe now, we've got a solution for you. If you want this automation, the CLA workshop, this would fit all of your needs now, which was it's a nice thing because, again, we could only work with U.S. and maybe a little bit of people in Canada. Now it's pretty much global.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have questions, jump on a call. I'd love to answer those. We could do a demo. Could show you the software itself. pfmarketingsolutions.com/call. Schedule that soon because, again, 1 week from today is that next workshop. So get on that calendar.
You want to jump in. All right, that's it for this episode, guys. Until next time, keep changing lives. See you. Bye.